Erin, thank you so much for joining me today. We're on the other side of the world. I'm very excited to chat to you. We kind of have similar businesses, and yet they're really quite different as well. So, tell all my listeners what it is that you do.
Well, like you, I help the dance community, right? But I help them in a way that's a little different than you. So my name is Erin Pompa. You might see me on the social media streets as Erin Pride. I just got married and I'm embracing my married name, which is Pompa. But I help the dance professional hone in on their area of specialty and monetize that skill set in the online space through creating a group program based on their area of specialty.
So yours is very much about taking a dance business online rather than in person.
What I like to explain is what I don't do first. So I am not a person that would help you build a virtual studio or a brick and mortar studio. I am someone that helps a dance professional create additional streams of revenue for themselves by honing in on their gifts that they received either academically or through experience. So an example of that is I have a client who was a Fulbright student and she is a educator in New York City, and she's like, Erin, I got this Fulbright scholarship to go to Peru. I love Peruvian dance. It helped me attach to my culture. I dream about creating this opportunity for others. So with me in my program, she created a study abroad program for Peruvian Americans where they learn half of it online. They take workshops, they study the culture, and then they actually travel to Peru. They're traveling this week. I have another client who has a brick and mortar studio, and she kept getting clients that were pregnant. And it really got her interested in becoming a doula and getting more education around supporting the birthing body. She created a virtual program helping the birthing body move their pregnancy. I have another client who has been doing the dance team circuit for a long time, setting choreography, creating work, cleaning pieces. And she really wants to step away from traveling so much and doing that. So she's creating a program helping coaches with intermediate teams place higher in competitions. So I say all of that to share it's not what I should do, it's looking at your life experience and saying, wow, how can I take my life experience in dance, turn that into a program that can help the dance community?
Fabulous. This is just awesome because obviously, with my client base and my listeners, most of my ladies and gents have got dance schools. So they
Mhm.
are kind of quite traditional dance based businesses. Um, but we all dream of having like income that just comes passively or income that is, not quite such a hustle in terms of like delivering face to face classes and dealing with people on a face-to-face basis. And I think sometimes having the confidence that you can take your skill set, you can take your knowledge and turn it into something that you can teach or you can develop all over the world. I mean, COVID has taught us, hasn't it, that we don't have to be limited now to the demographic of where we live. And that's awesome. I mean, your clients can like there is no limit to the size they can grow their business, is there?
Well, no, there's no limit, but I do want to make sure I'm clear. It's passive in the fact that if you're a studio owner currently, it's a different energy, right? You're not getting in your car, you're not driving, you're not teaching those long hours in the studio and all of those things. In the online space, you really get to serve anywhere from anyone from anywhere. But with all businesses, it's work.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't become passive until you do the work to make it become passive, right? I
Absolutely.
think in online space, when I first started my business, I saw a lot of marketers say, make this passive income, create this course, create this. And I'm like, oh, it's going to be easy. It's going to be passive. And then I'm like, oh crap, there's a lot of work that goes into this. So I like to be very authentic to if you want to start an online element to your business using your skill set, make sure you're passionate about it, make sure you're driven about it, because there is an extreme level of work that you need to do to make it successful.
100%, yes, and you're absolutely right. I'm so glad that you warned everybody, or at least shared that, so that people understand that. Because, let's face it, nothing comes for free, does it? Even if you've created I don't know, a product based business, I don't know, jewelry maker, you're still going to put hours and hours into the design and how you market that and how you
Mhm.
get constant sales come through. And so, no business comes, comes that easily. But I think, it's really great how what you're identifying is the fact that there's more than one way to use your dance based skills. And did you have all this already set up before COVID, or was it COVID that helped you to kind of realize this was something that you could build a business from?
Can I go back a little bit if it's okay? Because my story will give you context. So I was a high school dance teacher for 15 years, about 15 years, maybe a little short of that. So I ran a high school dance program full time, and I loved it until I stood in front of my class and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And on that journey of running the high school dance program, I partnered in one brick and mortar studio and I opened another brick and mortar studio, and I hated it. And I felt so guilty because I hated it, right? Like I thought the next step for me was to start a dance studio so that I could retire from my teaching job. And that could be how I made my income for the rest of my life, right? I'd never expected not to enjoy it. So then the time came when I was like, okay, I don't really enjoy teaching at a studio or running a studio. What am I going to do? So I started to share my knowledge of curriculum design online. I had clients, I had a membership, I had all of these things since I had my master's in dance education. And I was like, how can I share my skill set in the online space? So I did that for a while. And then COVID hit. And then I was helping people transition their dance studios online because I'm very tech savvy and I just love everything technology and business. And then I realized slowly that what I really enjoyed doing was helping dancers do exactly what I did in the beginning, right? If they realized, but I don't want a studio, or I want a studio, but I want to explore this other thing. So I started to take my intellectual property, take my process, and I put it into a curriculum and a framework to help dance professionals do exactly that. So, although I started my business before COVID, I like to say COVID is when I really took my business seriously. I got legal, I stepped into what I felt called to do, and I started serving clients in a deep way.
Yeah, and that's actually quite a similar story or a similar journey to the one that I've been on, but just obviously from a different aspect. Because I started doing a little bit of one-to-one coaching before COVID, probably in the 12 months leading up to that. And that's when I realized that that's where my purpose lay now. I mean, I think our purpose can change throughout our
Mhm.
lives. And, being in my 50s, I had this new
You
sense.
don't look 50.
Oh, well, that's so nice of you to
Stop.
say.
You are not in your 50s.
You're my new best friend, by the way.
Really? I'm serious.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Just had my 53rd birthday, actually.
Yes.
But yeah, I kind of realized that, I've had years and years and years of running my dance studios. I'm also an examiner for one of the UK examination boards and loved all of that, but kind of was starting to feel a bit old, like was starting to feel a bit like I've been doing this for like quarter of a century.
Mhm.
And when I went on my own journey of learning about business and investing in my learnings, I suddenly had this brand new skill set that was making a profound difference on my business. But I kind of felt really greedy not sharing that because,
Mhm.
I had so many friends. I also run a teacher training program. So a lot of people that come through me to learn to become teachers. And it's almost like I felt like I had like this golden nugget of information that I was kind of needed to share because
Mhm.
so many of my friends were having all the same struggles that I'd had for the previous 24 years, and didn't know how to fix them. And
Mhm.
I had all the answers, or
Mhm.
some answers.
Yeah.
No one has all the answers. And so I just felt called to, I need to start helping, offload what I've learned to other people. So that's where the kind of one-to-one coaching started. But when COVID happened, it was like, right, now I've got to do this like now. Like I launched my whole membership in 24 hours because, as you know, everyone just went into complete meltdown in the dance
Absolutely.
industry. And, it was just like, right, how can I just dive in and help? I just need to do this now. It's no good thinking about my plans. I had these amazing plans and strategies of what I was going to do in the next year and 2 years, and it's like, that's all got to go out the window. It needs to happen right now.
Yeah.
And so, that's where it all kind of came from. And so it's interesting how we've both kind of come from totally different aspects
Mhm.
of where we were at, but as a kind of catapult, COVID kind of threw us into our new businesses kind of
Mhm.
in a big way, didn't it?
Yeah, like we make plans and God laughs, and I am okay with that. So yeah, it's crazy. The pandemic, even though it caused a lot of hardships, and my heart goes out to people that it really impacted. I had the blessing of working from home and realizing how much I loved it. And I didn't only start my business to make an impact. Yes, I did, but I started my business because I wanted to see what else life could be for me. I was tired. I was tired of driving to work. I was tired of doing the paperwork, dealing with parents. I wasn't inspired anymore. And I really wanted to create a life where there was more freedom, where I made my own schedule, where I got to travel. I don't know. I just wanted to start to do something different than the grind I was used to as a dancer and a dance teacher and a dance professional and a dance performer.
And I'd love to know, Erin, where did you get that? I can only think of the word bravery because sometimes we all get stuck in a rut. Sometimes we get to a stage, and I know a lot of people listening will be like nodding and thinking, this is me. Like, where you get to the stage where you just think, this is all I've got. Like, I don't know how to do anything different.
Mhm,
It's scary, the thought of, like, I had my school for a long time, and I did get to the stage where I wasn't 100% sure whether I still
mhm.
wanted to be in that industry, but I had no idea how I could almost kind of remove myself from that and still earn a living and still do something I love. So
Right,
where did you get that
right.
courage from to make big changes in your life?
Well, I actually am on my social media on Instagram at Erin Pride. I'm dropping a post today, which is what to do when your vision for life has changed. Right? Where did I get that courage from? It was the fact that the uncomfortability of not being happy got so unbearable that I chose to act. I don't have any magic words. It's has to do with faith. I am a spiritual person. I have faith. And for me, having faith lets me realize that, you know, I am divinely led and I'm going to be okay. But let me be very clear. It's not like I said, I'm not happy teaching, let me leave it and start an online business. No, from the moment I realized that I wasn't happy teaching to the moment when I left my job was about 5 years.
Mm,
In that interim, I got honest about what I wanted. I started exploring. I started planting seeds so that I could have an exit plan. So I think sometimes we think when we're unhappy in a situation, the transition is immediate. And you have to be willing to endure the uncomfortability and start to grow what it is that you want while you're there. I believe in making an exit plan that is safe and makes sense for you. And that might take 1 year, that might take 3 years. But at the end of the day, I think about my life and I feel like I'm here to do my life's work, whatever that might look like in the season, right? And when I die, I don't want to say that I stayed in a situation because it was comfortable. Every uncomfortable feeling I get, every nudge I get is an indication to take action. That action doesn't always mean leave your studio. The action might mean get training. The action might mean hire another staff member. The action might mean something else, but it's our job as human beings to investigate what that feeling means. And if I am not brave to investigate what those feelings mean, I'm not really giving myself a chance to live my life.
and to grow. Yeah, I love that.
Right.
And I'm a massive Oprah fan, and I think she calls these whispers. It's
Hmm.
listening to your intuition that's trying to tell you something, isn't it? And the thing is, I really believe that if we don't listen to those whispers, if we don't listen to that nagging feeling, that gut feeling that things just aren't right, then we run a risk of carrying on and on and on and on until something catastrophic happens. And that can be burnout, it can be breakdown, it can be breakups in relationships because we haven't dealt with things that we should be dealing with. And I feel like someone, no matter what your faith is kind of tapping you on the shoulder, and they keep tapping and they keep tapping, and eventually that tap becomes a bit more of a shove. And if you really still don't listen and you carry on doing things that maybe aren't aligned with the pathway that you should be on, that's when something like big happens. And so I love the fact that what you're saying is you didn't just wake up one day actually and go, do you know what? I'm going to do
Mhm.
something different. I'm just going to throw all the everything everything into the air and I'm going to change my life. Like it was a series. It was a listening to your gut. It was a
Mhm.
slowly over the course of 5 years, transferring into something else that still held your passion. And
And what I did then wasn't even where I am now, but all of those things led me to this point. I think we have to get comfortable. It's hard as dancers, reprogram our mind because failure means we're not good enough, right? When we fail and we're not casted, that means we're not good enough. And I think that was ingrained in me early on, but it's like that those 5 years I failed. I started a membership, I changed my mind, I did all of these things, I changed my mind. And it's not about like having the right answer right away, it's being able to take the leap and being able to fail, right? Because that failure is going to lead you to where you should be. It's about being resilient, it's about not attaching your worth to the failure. Building a business is definitely strategy. I think having a coach and having strategy is great, but there's a level of internal work and of emotional intelligence and of spirituality and connection to self and your higher power that you need to embody and continuously work on so that you can grow the life and the business you want. I think so often people see it as strategy, and this is an inside job, and how you nurture that inside is different for everyone. But if that inside is being ignored, it's going to be really hard to grow your business to the place that you want it to be.
yeah, 100%. I mean, really, in terms of the strategy, that's the bit we're there for, to a certain extent. But actually, the real showing up, the real doing the work, the real making the magic, obviously
Mhm.
comes from the mindset and the 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 attitude that you go
Yeah.
into as the client. Like I say to my clients, I can give you the 20% knowledge bit, but the 80% are mindset and self-belief and knowing where you're going and determination and, like
Mhm.
you said, resilience. That all has to come from you. And I mean, I have a fabulous coach within my membership who's a performance and mindset coach, and she takes care of that 80%. I just do the easy bit.
Yeah.
I just do the business bit. She takes care of the what's getting in your way, and where
Yeah.
you really want to be going and where your purpose is, and like, why aren't you getting there? And she said something really profound on one of our coaching calls last month. Um, and she talked about the fact that it's more comfortable to stay where you are than it is to move outside of where you are, even if success lies outside of where you are.
Mhm.
Because we know what we're doing now, even if it's painful, even if it's a struggle, even if it makes us unhappy, we know how to do that. We know how to do unhappy. We know how to do struggle. We can get up
Mhm.
every day and do that because that's where we've been for a while. Whereas if we actually go out and we learn some new things and we do some different work and we grow the school or we sort our finances out or whatever the unhappy bit is, like, we don't know what that looks like. That's the unknown. And therefore, it's easier to stay where we are, even if it's a bad place, than it is to grow and see what's out there, outside our comfort zone, outside the box. And a lot of pennies dropped on that coaching call, I can tell
I
you.
love that. I think it's great that you have a performance mindset coach in your membership. I think it's so important. I have a financial coach inside of my group program because that is I really built a group program that I wish I had as a dancer because I found that working with clients and working on my own journey, a lot of that was overcoming the mindset blocks that I had about wealth and making money and being responsible for my money. So I just love how you bring in other people to support you, and I do the same. And I think it's important when you're looking at programs or for coaches, really looking at holistically, how are they serving you, right? And how are they bringing in people to fill the gaps that you can't serve.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other thing that you were saying today on my gratitude, I do a gratitude list in the morning and I send it to some people. And I said, I'm grateful for something like my challenges and the discomfort because that is when I really grow. And I'm telling you, it's like not where you want to get to. It's like, what I heard something this morning. I was listening to something. It's like, what are you willing to endure to get there? Right. Because we think so often about like, yeah, I want that business. I want that. But like, we don't think for a minute, like, are you ready to endure the moments when there's crickets and nobody's buying? Are you ready to endure the moments where like you don't feel good enough and like everything's falling flat? Like, what are you willing to endure? And how are you going to endure that without it telling you you're worthy or not worthy?
So I thought I would just share with you guys today the planners that I have produced for dance school owners, because these are flying out of Amazon like hotcakes. And if you don't have yours yet, then all you have to do is pop to Amazon and type into the search Deborah Laws, and all 3 books will come up. So the ultimate dance business planner I designed for you so that you had a little bit of a Deborah on your desktop. The planners are full of business training, tips, motivational quotes, things to do at the start of the month, things to do at the end of the month, ways in which you can plan out your marketing and your retention, and they are selling all over the world. So go to Amazon, grab your #1 best-selling Ultimate Dance Business Planner, and enjoy mapping out the growth for your studio. Yeah, and you know, I love what you've just said there, because to me, the biggest moments in my life where I've had real personal growth, where I've really stepped up and moved to a new level, have always come from the deepest, darkest places, you know. And I love the quote that the biggest growth, it comes from the wound. So, you know, wherever you've had pain in your life, whether it's feeling like you can't cope with your studio any longer, or whether it's something within your personal life, like when you're at that stage where you're just kind of going, just give up, or somebody please come and help me. Like, this is just too much. I'm not coping. Or, you know, wherever it is, when have those biggest challenges, that's when we have choices. That's when we choose to carry on enduring, like you said, or we choose to grow. And, you know, that's what I try and say to people when I'm on calls with people, clients that are maybe going to come and join my membership, and I'm talking to them about what they've got. You know, I'm more concerned about having the right people that I know I can help than having a lot of people, most of which don't want to learn, or I don't think I can help.
Yeah, well, I have a call with someone that might be joining that's interested in my program, right? And I think it's so important that we have program qualifiers in a way to help people, a way to see if people are a right fit. I mean, early on in business, I definitely took everyone. I think that's just a part of like newbie business. You're like, I need to make money. I want to make money. And then also the more people I was serving also fed my ego. And I had to unlearn that. I had to learn about quality over quantity. And it just makes it a better experience when you're programming your studio, even, right? Like, how many y'all got parents and families up in your studio that you know are not in alignment with your vision and your mission of your school, but you keep them because you want to keep doors open? And I get that because I've done that in my own business. But then what I have to really think about is, how does this person dilute the culture of what I'm trying to teach? And then energetically, who am I blocking off from coming because I am taking in all these people that don't belong? So it's like overcoming scarcity, believing that you're allowed to be selective and also be inclusive at the same time. We're not meant to serve everybody. And I think that's the biggest thing that I had to learn and I had to share with my clients. Like, there is enough to go around for everyone. And when we think we need to serve everyone, that is being greedy, right? And those are like our demons. Those are our defects as humans, and we need to face them. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It means that you just need to reevaluate like your value system.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because this is something that I preach. I don't preach. I'll rephrase that. This is something that I share. That sounds
you
nicer.
Preach. Listen, my platform is my church. I'd be like, listen.
But this is something that I share all the time with my clients and my members in terms of what you've just said, in terms of how they attract their students and who they're attracting. But it's the same for us, isn't it? As business coaches, it's no different. I mean, I feel sometimes people must come off calls with me and think, does Deborah even want me in her membership? Because I spend more time telling them this is the type of person I don't want, like, than I do just saying, yeah, come in, come in. I'm literally like, well, this is what's going to work, and this is what's not going to work. And if you're not prepared to do this, please don't waste your money. I don't want to take your money. If you want to come into the membership, pay your monthly fee and expect that, magic's going to happen without doing any work. So I try and make it real. I try and make people realize, just by joining, having a business coach and a community, that's just the start. Like, you've got to then show up, you've got to do the work, you've got to learn, you've got to step outside your comfort zone, you've got to challenge yourself, you've got to do new things. And if you're ready to do that, then hallelujah, the doors are open.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sometimes people and I think this is true too. Sometimes people need to join a program just to know that it's not for them, that they don't want to do the work, because there's a false perception because of media of what building a business, whether it's a brick and mortar, whether it's online, is like, right? You get this false perception that it's glamorous and all of these things, but us in the trenches, we get the reality. But sometimes people need to go through coaching programs to realize that they do not want to do the work, and that is okay too.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And my business coach says that to me, when I'm getting a little bit, my knickers in a twist, and I'm saying, oh, I've lost this, many people this month. What am I doing wrong? She says, Deborah, you're not doing anything wrong. You're doing everything perfectly right. Everybody realizes when they come in what it's going to take, and those people will come and then they'll go again. You just have to let those people come and go, because even though they might feel like the right fit at the start, if when it actually comes to it, they're not ready to step outside of their normal pain and suffering. I'm not saying everyone's in pain and suffering, but if they're not prepared to start to make changes, which feels uncomfortable, then let them move on. They'll come back to you. Like, they'll come around when they're ready. They found you, they know you're there, they know that it's there ready for them when they're there. And that takes quite a lot of trust, because it's really easy for all of us, anyone in business, to kind of get a bit clingy and a bit desperate, with our clients, and to just kind of go, actually, it's okay. Just trust that the people that need to be there will be there.
Right.
Help those that need you right now, that want you right now, and let everybody else, find you as and when.
Right. And that doesn't mean, I think sometimes people think that escape into that with manifestation, just dream it and it will come. No, what I think that we're both saying, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, is no, still do your marketing, still put your best foot forward, still take the action, but the outcome is not up to you. You are in charge of taking the action. The outcome will work out. So I don't want people to rest on their laurels and think oh, people, the right people will come. Oh no, you got to let the right people know that you're there. You got to still do the work.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Yes. I'd love for manifestation to just be, let's just sit and meditate for an hour in the morning, and then everything's fine for the rest.
We get everything we think we need.
Yeah, exactly. Although I did manifest my work that I did on a cruise ship recently. That was definite creative manifestation. And I was like, oh, that's
But I bet it's seeds that you've been planting, maybe even not even realizing it.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, definitely. Like, my members and people in my, community, my audience, they all know that I am a massive, putting out to the universe what you want.
Absolutely.
And the energy that you show up in every day. And, I feel quite aligned with what you're talking about today, Erin, because you've been talking about your, the gratitude and the work you do each day. I think it's important that, we are able to be really authentic. I felt for a very long time that all the things that I believed in and how I show up for myself every day was something that I kind of had to keep to myself, because it wouldn't be very professional if I started telling people, that I believe in this, or I believe in manifesting, or I believe in the universe, or whatever it is that I believe in. I felt like that had to be mine. It's almost like, don't share that. And I have definitely had a lovely little bit of a bit more courage, I suppose, to just go, do you know what? I'm going to be myself. And for those people that kind of go, oh, not sure about that, then like I said, that's okay. That's fine. And, I feel very strongly that you're You sound like you're very similar in that respect.
Listen, I'm 41 years old. I think there also comes something with age. You're in your 50s. I'm in my 40s. Like maybe, especially in my 20s and 30s, I was like, oh, a little more timid. But after you get a certain age, I think that's the beauty of it. You start to say, listen, I don't got time to play around. This is who I am. And if you don't like me, fine. But I also think that it's more freeing. I definitely showed up on social media when I first started my business, and I was very not calculated, but I was very timid, or I didn't share everything. But now I don't care, and it's just freeing. And you know, my sister said the other day, because she has to speak in front of somebody, I think it's this weekend, and she's like so nervous, and she's like, I'm just gonna imagine like that's my book audience, like because she's writing a book or wants to write a book. And I'm like, you're so funny, like that's not your book audience. And then I call her the other day and I'm like, wait, I just had a vision that my social media, that I am an influencer and a celebrity, and people show up to see the real me. She's like, see, I told you it works. So like, just envision, like people are there to see you, whether it's one or two people, and they are going to accept you for who you are. But I wanted to say one more thing, Deb, about manifesting the cruise ship. So about 2 weeks on my social media ago, I had gone through difficulty in business. You know how business feels hard sometimes. You're like, damn, this is hard, uncomfortable, whatever. So within that time, I really started to ask myself questions like, what else do I want to do? Not like leave my business, but within my business. What else do I want to do? What work am I avoiding because it's really hard? Right. And I was like, I want to public speak. Like I've always wanted to public speak, but I haven't ever pursued it hard. So I put the intention out there on social media. I shared it. And then I started pitching. Like, so I think people forget the in between, like the action part, like didn't understand how to pitch, got a book, sat down, wrote emails, some bounced back. Some people said no. Some people said yes, we'll be in touch, all of these things. So I go to this spiritual conference this weekend with my sister and my two friends, and it's a women's conference. And in this conference, they ask you to share your story. Some women, and they asked 2 women to share their story. It was like 90 women at the conference. They asked me. So I put this out there on social media not 2 weeks ago, but then I put in the action, right? And then I show up and I'm asked to speak in front of a group of women. And I share this story to tell you because, Deb, you just talked about manifesting a cruise ship, right? That's manifestation, how you're talking about it and how I'm talking about it. Claiming what you want, putting in some work, and then letting it unfold, right? And I think sometimes people shy away from the work because it's hard, right? But that is where the magic really happens. And that is what unlocks possibility. If I didn't put in the work or claim that publicly, maybe they would have still asked me to speak. But I think there's a bigger thing working in my favor and all of our favors once we start putting the ingredients together.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because, you know, there's such a similar story here, because the way that the cruise ship manifested was I decided that I wanted to do more public speaking. Exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like, I read Michelle Obama's book about becoming Obama, and I came out the end of that and I was like, right, I need to dream bigger. I need to think bigger. I need to dream bigger. Like, I've already feel like I've dreaming really big, creating what I've done, but I feel like there's even more. Yeah. And I was like, do you know what? I'm going to stop feeling like how silly is it of me to think that I could stand on a stage and guest speak around the world. And I was like, Michelle Obama says, somebody had to grow up to be Gandhi. Yes. Somebody had to grow up to be Barack Obama. Like, they all started off as little kids kicking football outside their house. And you only have to believe that you can do these things. And the roles are there for people to step into. And I was like, wow. So really it's just a case of, I just got to believe that I can. And I read that book just before Christmas. I started thinking, like, okay, so what is it I can do that is even greater and bigger than what I currently do? And I had things like podcasts and my business planner that I launched and a few other things. I was like, no, bigger. Like, how can you go even bigger? And so that's where the guest speaking kind of came up. So I was like, right, so I'm going to start thinking about the possibilities, start putting my energy out there that I can be paid to travel around the world and stand on stages. And then I was like, let's be more specific here. I want to be paid to travel first class to travel around the world. and speak in beautiful, gorgeous countries that I actually want to visit and get paid in abundance for doing it. And I started doing this work, and it's maybe baby steps. But, all of a sudden I'm on a cruise ship, all expenses paid. I can take a guest and I'm being paid, and I'm traveling to 6 or 7 different countries. Yeah. And I was like, hey, this is the beginning of me being paid to travel and, put my skills out there. It might not quite look like I'd like it to look eventually, but I've now given myself, I'm now open to the possibilities.
Yeah.
So now things are coming towards me, and I get very excited about that.
Me too, because I call them breadcrumbs. I can't even believe how much in alignment our stories are right now with that. But that is just evidence. Y'all need to dream big if you want to, and then put in the action.
Totally. Listen, I could talk to you all day. This has been such a fab conversation. I'm going to wrap up now, though, but I've got some fun questions I like to throw at my interview, lovely people I'm interviewing. So I'm just going to shoot them at you, no pressure, just whatever comes up as you say it. So favorite business book?
Oh, right now, Speak Your Way to Cash. By Ashley and Kirkwood Esquire.
Amazing. Thank you. We'll all go and look that one up. Favorite place in the world?
My parents' house.
Oh, that's so gorgeous. Person from history that's no longer alive that you'd love to spend some time with?
She's not really a person from history, but it's my grandma.
I can see you're a real family person.
Yeah.
Someone that's still alive that you'd love to sit down with for 15 minutes?
My dad.
Okay. Something that you still want to achieve in life, although we might have just discussed it.
Yeah. I want to use my voice to impact the world. I want to speak on stages across the world and be paid for it.
Amazing. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Oh, this is a tight one. Either butter pecan or cookies and cream. Cookies and cream maybe, depends on my mood.
I love some of the answers that I get from the Americans. I've just interviewed Denise Duffield Thomas today, and she's over in Australia, and she came up with some flavor. I was like, what's that? We don't have that in the UK, and I don't think we have either of those either. So this is an interesting learning curve for us, if nothing else. Okay, last one. Scariest thing you've ever done, but you did it anyway?
Leave my full-time job to work in my business full-time.
Fabulous. And that's a huge, big, scary thing. Yeah. Oh, Erin, thank you so much for, coming on and chatting today. It's been really lovely. And, I love the way you speak, in particular, the way that you're, just so authentic, and you show up with such a strong purpose. It's really inspiring. And it's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Are you looking to get precious time back in your life so you can make more time doing the things you love? DanceBiz is a class management and booking software from the lovely folk at Think Smart that will automate and streamline all your dance school admin. It's the perfect tool for all those tasks that just seem to take so long, and will help you to work smarter, not harder. Message me today, folks, and I can give you a code so you can get 2 months free.